Welcome, one and all. We are here, episode 23 of the Yeah You Know Us. We're here.
Great intro today.
We are Jag Blitz. We typically talk about Jaguar stuff, but because the season is over and our team is not in the postseason, we have decided to mix things up and talk about NFL stuff, and then we'll sprinkle some Jaguars related stuff in there. I'm here with my co-hosts most of the time, the MC Wale. How you doing, sir?
I think I've only missed one show.
That's why I said most of the time, most of every time.
Fair enough.
That was my first show, actually, the one you missed.
Yeah, see, there you go.
So, and we're here with some that has joined us a couple times, 3 times, about 3. Good old Plaid Jags fan. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, man. Cheers. Happy Wednesday evening to you.
So,
it's my one day off this week. One day off.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
That's gotta be that's a interesting set of circumstances.
I've always wondered having that one random day off during the week. Like, I wouldn't know what to do with myself outside of just sleep.
There's not sports on TV, video games, or karaoke. That's about it.
That doesn't sound bad, man. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't sound bad at all.
So we'll go over topics we've got for tonight. We're going to go over our thoughts and feels, NFL divisional rounds, which were last weekend. We're going to go over all the head coaching positions the NFL have been filled. So we'll go over where we're ranking them. There's 7 of them. And then we'll do some of our Jaguar stuff. Jaguars announced we'll have a defensive coordinator before the start of the Senior Bowl. And then last, we'll go over AFC, NFC championships, our predictions against the line, and also what good old Odd Sharks got. So I'll start with you, Wale. What do you think of the NFL divisional rounds?
Oh, okay. So the first game with Kansas City and the Patriots wasn't as big of a game as we kind of expected it to be. I know that a lot of people thought it was going to be a tight game, but I mean the Patriots kind of had an overwhelming lead going into the game late. I mean, the real game we want to talk. There's only 2 games that I really would want to focus on, and that's the end of the Cardinals-Packers game because that was thrilling theater for anybody who got to catch that game, and obviously the first half of the Panthers and Seahawks because that was also highly entertaining. Looking at the Cardinals and the Packers, though, that was a hard-fought game throughout, man. That was a game that I thought that the Cardinals were going to kind of not necessarily win soundly, but they had so much control over that game. But then, the Packers, and they sped up that offense, and all of a sudden they're right back in it. And then the last minute and a half of that game just got completely out of hand, though. Just the way it all went down, and seeing Aaron Rodgers get another chance at another Hail Mary. And he's 2 for 2 on Hail Marys this year, man. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Keeping in mind that it was 4th and 30. And he gets the first down on that, and I was out with some friends that night, and obviously we're watching the game at the spot and stuff, and I'm talking to these 2 girls because they're watching the game as well, and I'm like, all right, who you guys think is gonna win? Blah blah blah, and they're like, oh, we're Cardinals fans. Who do you think is gonna win? And I was like, I'm an agent of chaos, so I'm rooting for the Packers to come back in this thing, and of course they convert 4th and 30. The girls turn around and look at me like I'm some sort of prophet. And that was just just wait. If he throws a Hail Mary here, I mean, one of you is gonna have to give me your number. That's just the way this is gonna go down. And so, of course, the Hail Mary happens, and I just kind of look there smugly. I'm like, this is pretty awesome. The entire place is going crazy. The girls are going nuts. But it was cool to see it go into overtime. And then, of course, they flipped the coin for overtime. It didn't flip on the first flip, which I don't understand how that doesn't happen with the amount of energy and just emotion that was going on. I figured he'd flip that coin right out the stadium when that happened. And then, of course, first play of scrimmage, Carson Palmer pulls some miraculous S out of his butt and gets it to Larry Fitz, who reverts to 2005 Larry Fitzgerald. Takes off for about. Yeah, well, he's 96 years old, but still a productive receiver. And then goes down the field 75 yards and, of course, scores on a shovel pass to win the game for the
Yep.
Cardinals. So I mean that's incredible theater. And then obviously the Panthers just getting up 31-0 on the Seahawks. The Seahawks just not having any clue of how to kind of react in the first half was entertaining. Plus the jokes were flying, all the future jokes were flying. You know, Cam Newton Superman and Cam Newton this, Cam Newton that. I mean, I just loved it.
What'd you think, sir?
Yeah, no, definitely. Same as you said, the Cardinals Packers game is best game. Which fun stat for you is the second game in a row, a playoff game between the Cardinals and Packers has ended on the third play of overtime with a Cardinals win.
Weird.
2000,
Kurt Warner, right?
2009, Carlos Dansby had a 17-yard fumble,
What?
scoop and score.
Oh,
third
man.
play of the game.
Damn, that's some stat diving there.
Yeah. I had another good one in there for you. The Hail Mary was the first time a postseason game has ended with a touchdown at the end of regulation to tie or win a game. Period. Never happened. So that was
on the
game.
very last play of the play of the game. Yeah.
Zeros on the clock. It's never happened before.
Cool.
But yeah, that was fun. 41-yard Hail Mary to Jeff Janis, which who the hell is he? Kansas City, New England. He said kind of a yawner. Carolina was just fun to watch the blowout. Denver, Pittsburgh, whatever. Like, it's just, that was kind of an ugly game to watch. I was kind of bored with that one, but definitely Green Bay, Arizona, 5 stars on the playoff scale.
So I'm gonna go different since I don't want to agree with you guys just full-heartedly here because I enjoyed watching the one with the non-flip was wonderful. And then, of course, I was my dad's birthday was this past Sunday, so I was at a Bono's watching the Seahawks Panthers game in the corner of my eye and just giggling to myself as the Panthers went up 31-0. Things that stood out to me in the other two games are going to be that Kansas City had like 3 minutes in the fourth quarter down by 2 scores, and they just took their sweet time. Like, I'm sitting there going, go! Because I thought Kansas City would win. I predicted they'd win. So you've got enough time. You got 3 timeouts. Go. And it was like Gus Bradley had reincarnated himself over on the Kansas City sideline and was calling plays like, we're going to take our time here. Nope. We're not going to be rushed. We're not going to do anything. We're going to take our sweet time. And that was just a huge debacle. And I think, and to be fair to Andy Reid, it's kind of something he's got a trend with, of just poorly mismanaging the end of games where potentially he has a shot at winning them. The Denver-Pittsburgh game, I think Pittsburgh lost that game. For the most part, I watched most of it pretty much. I watched it on the corner. I've got 2 screens. So I watched on one screen while I was doing something else. And they had pretty much the game in hand for most of the game. And that's with missing, 2 starting running backs, their best wide receiver, Big Ben playing hurt, and a bunch of other things. So seeing Denver win in that situation didn't make me think that Denver's got a shot against New England, but we'll get to that. It was just the fumble at the end of the game is really what gave them the game. If the guy could have held on to the ball, we're talking Pittsburgh's going to New England, not New England going to Denver. So that
was a 29-point swing on percentage to win on that play. Actually.
And so that kind of stuff to where that's where those games were definitely not as exciting. The Pittsburgh, oh gosh, that game was so boring. The Pittsburgh, you're watching Peyton Manning miss wide open people. His deep balls just go out of bounds. That's all they do. And it's like watching. It's sad to see Peyton Manning be reduced to Alex Smith from 4 years ago. Just short passes.
It really isn't, though. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, it's still Peyton. We get Peyton in the playoffs. It's like Peyton Manning's been a shell of himself for 3 years now.
You're not getting the deep threat Peyton Manning, the guy that's going to throw a fade route or a go route or anything like that. You're getting the Peyton Manning that's a game manager that knows and hopes that his wide receiving core is going to run short in and out routes or comeback routes or something. He's not going to throw it for a 40 or 50-yard bomb. He's going to sit there and hope that against the Patriots, somebody misses an assignment and a 4-yard pass turns into a 15-yard pass or a screen pass or something's going to happen. So, but we'll move on. So all head coaching positions in the NFL have been filled. You've got Hugh Jackson with the Browns, Chip Kelly with the 49ers, Dirk Koetter with the Bucks, Adam Gase with the Finns, Doug Peterson with the Eagles, Ben McAdoo with the Giants, and good old Mike Mularkey, who we both all know and well, with the Titans. Let's go back around. Dave, what do you think? If you're going to rank them, 1 through 7.
Should I do 7 to 1 or 1
However
through
you want to
7?
do it.
I'm going to do 1 through 7. My number 1 is Dirk Koetter. Save his experience with Blaine Gabbert. He did really good work with Garrard. Best 4 years of his career with David Garrard when he was here. And Matt Ryan did an exceptional job with him. So I think working with Jameis Winston going forward, he's obviously Jameis Winston is much more talented than Mr. Blaine. I think he'll be good for developing Jameis down in Tampa. I like Hugh Jackson a lot. Saved the franchise he was hired by. And the reason I like him is because he's the most experienced coach out of anybody who has been hired this offseason. He started coaching in 1991 for the NFL Europe London team. So he's been around the block, done a lot of things. 3, I like Chip Kelly because maybe Kurt Kaepernick can resurrect. 4 is actually Mike Mularkey. Just because who knows what he can actually do. He got 1 year here with a terrible Jaguars roster and then kind of got shafted in Buffalo. 5, I have Gase at 5, and I would have had him lower, except for I dug up. He was Tebow's quarterback coach in the 2011 playoff miracle game against Pittsburgh. So he got bumped up an extra spot. And then I've got Peterson and McAdoo at 6 and 7, kind of tied. Haven't really done much. If you look at their coaching background, not a lot of experience there. I'm not saying they're not going to be good, but going forward from here, they don't have much of a resume, really. So that's what I got. Wally?
All right, fair enough. I'm going to start with 7. 7 is Ben McAdoo. I don't like the hire. I really don't. I don't necessarily think he's going to be the guy that leads the Giants back to, success or anything like that. His offense is just like I just don't like the hire. I think they didn't spend any time really looking for a head coach, and I don't like it. So that's at 7. At 6, Doug Peterson with the Eagles. It's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's not the worst thing in the world. At 5, Mike Mularkey. Even though we laugh about how bad Mike Mularkey was here in Jacksonville, the thing is he's highly respected as an offensive mind. And if he actually is given a chance with decent talent surrounding him, he might be able to turn his career around. At 4, I like Dirk Koetter. Personally, I don't think the Bucs should have fired Lovie Smith, but I do understand that. Look, sometimes you have to put things in perspective and focus on the long-term success of your future. And I don't necessarily think that Lovey was necessarily going to be in those plans. So I figured I guess they figured they'd fire him and go ahead and move with Dirk Koetter. Dirk Koetter is also one of those guys that's been well respected around the league as far as an offensive mind goes. So you got to give him some credit there. He's done well with the quarterbacks, and he did really well with Jameis in his first year. So let's see that improve. I believe, what number am I on? 3, 4? Okay, 4. 4. I'm on 3 now, or
No, you're
4?
on 4.
I'm on 4. See, sorry, it's been a crazy day.
I'm the one drinking too.
4 is Chip Kelly. I don't necessarily care for the hire. I kind of figured Chip might go back to college, but if there was ever an opportunity where he could kind of resurrect his image a little bit, I mean, you could do a lot. We could do a lot worse quarterbacks than Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, he got benched, quote unquote, put on IR. But look, I think Chip Kelly's the kind of guy who runs the type of offense that Kaepernick could probably thrive in. At 3, I like Adam Gase. I think that hire for Miami is actually going to prove out to be very good for them, and it's a good situation for him. And then last but not least, you've got Hugh Jackson, number 1 for the Browns. The Browns finally made a hire that wasn't Brownsish, if that makes any sense. They actually found a guy that, is highly respected, who's going to be able to come in and kind of refocus and redirect that team onto a better path, because the AFC North is a good division, but if Hugh Jackson can turn the Browns into an even semi-respectable team, that division just gets that much better.
So I'm gonna agree with you, Wale, in that Hugh Jackson's my number one. I wanted Hugh Jackson. I mentioned this last week. He took a piss poor Raiders team to 8-8 a while ago, and that was back when Carson Palmer, I think, was with the Raiders. And it's one of those things where you have, like you said, a Browns team that doesn't make a Browns decision at head coach. They don't go. I mean, yeah, he was probably the number one person to go after. And if you're talking about teams where he's going to go, he's not going to one of the easiest situations, but he is going to a situation where I really, really hope the owner will do and doesn't say, oh, you've had 2 seasons, bye, and then pushes him out the door, because I do think, given the right opportunity, he's going to be the guy to go after. Number 2, I'm right there with Derek Cotter. I liked him. He's done some good things with quarterbacks. He's there. I agree with you. I don't think Lovey should have been kicked out. I mean, this team from year over year with Lovey made some good strides, so I don't understand why you do that. 3 for me is going to be Adam Gase. I liked him a lot when he was with Denver. I thought, okay, if you're going to do this, my only concern with him is on the defensive side of things. Number 4 is probably going to be Doug Peterson. Not because I don't think he's going to be great, but I think it's hilarious how the Eagles get rid of Andy Reid to then rehire like Andy Reid 2.0. I think it's hilarious. You get rid of Andy Reid because you're like, we're sick of 10-win seasons. We don't want 10-win seasons. You know, we want to go to the Super Bowl. So you get rid of him. Andy Reid starts having 10-win seasons in good old Kansas City. So they're like, oh, we're going to do better than him. And then his assistant defends him in a press conference in Philadelphia like, oh, we meant to do this whole like run the clock out thing because we don't want to give Tom Brady the ball back. I was like, all right. Number 5 is probably going to be, number 6 rather. No, we're on 5. 5 is going to be Ben McAdoo. Whatever. I think it was just an easy out. I don't think he'll be there. He's getting Eli on the downside of Eli's career potentially. It's like, okay. Number 6 is Chip Kelly, just because he took a good Eagles team that averaged good seasons for many, many seasons under good old Andy Reid, and then just ran that team into the ground. He had 2 10-win seasons, and then once he was given full control of all personnel and everything, he just ran it into that instance reminded me of what Josh McDaniels did with the Broncos. Like, I'm going to trade away all the best players, and I'm going to start my own thing. And then it blew up in his face. So I don't understand why.
It's not that it blew up in his face. It was just that, like, Josh McDaniels wasn't given a fair chance. And I'm saying this, and it sounds ridiculous coming from me, but he didn't get a fair shake in Denver.
He got, 3 seasons there?
What? Josh McDaniels?
Uh-huh.
As a head coach?
Yeah, with the Broncos.
No, he had, 6 games.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
No. I'm going to look this up right now because it's going to bug me.
I don't think it was that long, guys.
Yeah, 2009, 2010. 2 years.
So you had 2 years.
Del Rio interned for him, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Del Rio did intern for him, and that's before they put in John Fox, whatever. But, yeah, he took over, traded away Jake Cutler right away. Then after 1 season, traded away Brandon Marshall, all that stuff. Josh McDaniels was wonderful at draft picks, other than the Tebow pick. But, I mean, if we're talking about it, that's what concerns with Chip Kelly. He's going to go to the 49ers. And, yeah, Kaepernick could get a resurrected career. I hope so. I really like Cap. But I don't know if I'm a 49ers fan, if I'm sitting there going like, yay, I really trust this person with our personnel decisions. And then last, for me, is going to be Mike Mularkey. I don't care about anything that he did. I just remember somebody that doesn't have – he just seems lukewarm to me. That's all. Somebody that's concerned about the X's and O's and doesn't seem like somebody that he can relate to a lot of the players that are our age and quite a bit younger. And you're going to have somebody that's more concerned that the joke on Twitter, he's more concerned about the helmets lined up on the field than actually being lined up. Um, that kind of stuff where I just look at it and say, okay, you had a 2-win season with Jacksonville, sure, but you were supposed to be this offensive guru, and it looks like Greg Olson was the offensive guru, not really you, and so that's kind of where I'm at with him. And I feel bad for Mariota. Not that I feel bad for the Titans. That Mariota's going to be potentially on with somebody that is just so bland, no energy, no excitement, and he's not Bill Belichick, the stone cold face Bill Belichick. He is a bland individual, from what I've seen. So that's where I'm at there. All right, we'll move on to our Jaguars related stuff here. So they announced today that we're gonna have a defensive coordinator by the Senior Bowl, but didn't say who. And a lot of people, I think Ryan O'Halloran,
O'Halloran?
however you say his last name, Ryan O, predicts that it's gonna be good old Todd Walsh. Wash. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna let you go first, Dave.
Eh. Eh. That's how I feel about it. It sucks because we are in a lame duck year, and if Bradley pumps out anything better in a playoff appearance, we know he's gonna be gone. It's kind of, we all knew this is coming. He's gonna get named defensive coordinator, and it's gonna be the same old shit. And unless we get Jalen Ramsey at 5, there's gonna be wide open spaces in the defense all year next year, and we're gonna be here bitching online about it again in about 8 months.
Fair enough. I'll go ahead and dive into it. I just think it's ridiculous that if you allowed Gus Bradley to kind of have a hiring search, he brings in names that no one's ever heard of outside of Jim Schwartz. Then when you find out that, oh, he didn't even really, I guess not offering him the job is one thing. Maybe it's not a culture fit. I get that, but you're telling us that, hey, your front runner is a guy that's already on your staff, which was already bad, but you're just obliging us by running this head coaching search. You might as well have just said, look, we're firing Babbage and I'm placing him with Todd Wash. That's the plan. That's what I'm doing, and that's what way we're going to go with it. And stop wasting everybody's time, because for the past 2.5, almost 3 weeks, we've been speculating, trying to figure out, all right, who's going to be the defensive coordinator. If the guy's been on your staff the entire damn time, then why bother? Why bother? So, and nothing against Todd Wash per se, because I don't know if he's good or not. I have no idea. His defensive line is
a joke.
Well, here's the thing: defensive line play outside of his ends was actually pretty good. So, I mean, do I know? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and diss Wash per se. I'm just saying that Gus Bradley even shows a little bit more ineptitude when it comes to trying to figure out how a front office is supposed to run and how a coaching staff is supposed to be built. So just chalk one up for another. Gus Bradley has no idea what he's doing.
Or and yeah, I kind of agree with you there. But one point I just want to throw into that is it makes me wonder is if Shad was somewhere involved being the business mind he is. I want to interview people regardless, and see those resumes, those interviews. I wonder if he had any influence in that. Not trying to make an excuse, but that's what when you brought that up, it makes me think maybe the businessman in charge was like, all right, we should at least run some interviews before we make a decision.
I'm just saying, if you're put in charge of something like that, look, you shouldn't be afraid to say, hey, I'm saying this with conviction. I want to make Wash my guy. Instead of just being like, oh, yeah, we're going to go through the process. It's always a process with the guy. It's the process. The process hasn't shown shit yet, so I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah, to me, I understand, not understand. I would be okay with the Wash hire if, as you said, there's some sort of conviction there. The issue I have is the dog and pony show. The whole, hey, we're going to bring this out, so our fans that were super upset that I'm getting another year are going to have a week or two of speculation. Oh, there goes Dave. And that we're going to have some time where we're going to say, hey, maybe we get Tom Zula, maybe we get Mike Pettit, maybe we get Jim Schwartz or whatever, and then go through and say, hey, nope. Sorry, we're going to hire somebody on our own staff. take it. Too bad, so sad. That's kind of the issue that I have with it. And so, yeah, could this guy be great? Sure, there's
Doubt
definitely
it.
potential there. I hope so. But if we're talking about one of the groups where the defensive line, yeah, we're talking about, our tackles look good, okay, but we got no pressure. The only time we got pressure was from corner blitzes. That kind of thing where I'm just wondering, like, okay, hypothetically, say we go in, they announce Wash, and then what do? Say, well, yeah, Babbage was the guy that, pick playing time and all stuff. Does Gus then throw his buddy under the bus basically and say, hey, I just let Babbage do his thing, and I'm gonna let this guy do his thing, and then not take ownership over being a head coach in those positions. I don't see how you sell that to the fans. I really don't, and I don't see how you do it in a sense where you're like, all right, we're good. So that's the issue I have. The disappointment factor is there. But I was talking about it with somebody today. If you're going to go through and try to get one of those bigger name guys, the Schwartz, the Pettit, all that stuff, are you really going to be able to get somebody in a lame duck year per se and say, hey, our coach is probably not going to be here. Sorry, but he it is what it is, but he's probably not going to be here. So you got to sit around and maybe, next year go apply for another job. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so we'll go on because it looks like Dave may not be back. So
Oh no, we lost Dave.
yeah, that's what happens, unfortunately. All right, let me make your window here bigger so then I
I
can.
wonder if he has Comcast.
Yes, he does.
Oh hey.
He definitely has Comcast. All right, so there we go. Yeah, he definitely got Comcast. So it's one of those things where that's the issue that I have with it is like, okay, so we're going to sit there and make everybody else look stupid. So let's go to our last bit. We've got AFC Championship, NFC Championship. So Pats at Broncos, Cards at Panthers. The Pats are actually favored on the line. Oh, it looks like David's back. Of course he is. And then we've got
Comcast, Dave?
No.
we've got the Panthers on there. So, there we go.
Sorry about that.
We've got that. So, what do y'all think here? If we're talking, what do you think about the line? So, and then also your predictions. And then what do you think of that people, even though on the line, are still betting for the opposite? With the Cardinals, that's one that sticks out to me the most. That people are still picking the Cards to win, but not on the line. So they think the Cards are going to win by like 1 point. So we'll start with you, Wally. What do you think?
All right. Anytime you've got a game that's plus or minus 3, it's pretty much a pick'em game anyway. So it doesn't really matter. They're just given, I guess, it's the home favorite.
Yep.
In both situations. As far as picking the games, I think that the Patriots just are going to be too much for the Broncos. The Broncos' defense is extremely good, don't get me wrong, but I just think that when you have a quarterback and an offense like what the Patriots run, where it's a lot of fast, quick passes, that defensive line's not going to have a lot of time to get to Brady, and if they can't get him on the ground, they're not going to have a lot of success beating them. Then moving on over to the NFC game. Statistically and on paper, the Cardinals should beat the Panthers, but Cam Newton's really, really, really good, and if there's one guy who's going to will his team to the Super Bowl, it's that guy. I'm picking Cam. I'm taking the Panthers, and it's all because honestly, I need Brady and Cam in the Super Bowl so I can make comparisons all day long on Twitter.
Nice. Yeah, as far as, they say they add a field goal for home advantage. So you're right. Yeah, it's definitely a pick 'em on both games, with home teams being favored by 3. I like Arizona to cover, but not necessarily win. I like Carolina by a point or 2. Like you said, like Cam Newton's just too much. I get Carson Palmer's kind of reborn himself, Kurt Warner-esque style, but I think Cam's too much. And on the other side, like we were talking about earlier, Peyton Manning's just a shell of him former self. We were talking before the broadcast. Me and Lawrence are turning 30 next month. Peyton Manning was drafted when me and Lawrence were 12 years old. He was drafted in 1998. Him and Charles Woodson are the last two players left from that draft. And Brady's too good right now. Home field advantage. What is it? Manning's also 3-8. 5-11 against Tom Brady.
But Tom Brady's 2-6 in Denver.
Yeah,
which is one of the oddest stats I think I've ever heard.
I guess I didn't catch that side of it either. But I just don't see. I don't think Peyton Manning's got enough juice in the tank. I think we get New England and we get Carolina and rematch of what 0-1 something like that.
No.
0-5. I don't know. It's a rematch of a Super Bowl win.
Yeah,
I think it's 2002 maybe.
I think it's 2002.
I'm pretty sure I watched that.
0-1 was Baltimore.
I watched that game at your house, Lawrence. I'm pretty sure I watched that game in your house.
Yeah, Jake Delhomme. Tom Brady. It was Tom Brady's second or third Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. Nope, that's not it. Try 2002.
But no, I'm right there with you. I think the Patriots are healthy, and if good old Tom Brady decides to not, just play sound, I don't think there's a way the Broncos keep up. We kind of talked about it before. Peyton Manning just isn't the Peyton Manning of what I remember from the early 2000s when he and Tom were going back and forth in championship games when he was with the Colts. It's just not the same thing. And on the other side, the Cardinals versus the Panthers, that's the game I'm actually really, really excited to watch because I'm really excited to see what Cam does against what is, going to be a very interesting matchup. We both, he already beat what was technically the best defense in football in the Seahawks, and they just spanked him. So I'm curious to see if they can do that, and that wasn't just an aberration. My only concern for the Panthers, and this kind of showed in their last game, is they went up real big, and then they just took their foot off the gas and allowed the Seahawks to come back in a game where the Seahawks looked like they weren't going to have a shot, no snowball chance in hell, and I thought the Panthers were going to score 50, 60 points, and they didn't score any points in the second half. So that's my only concern is mental fortitude there. And I don't know if Ron Rivera, I would hope Ron Rivera is good enough to sit there and say, hey, this is where we're at. Let's stay the course, guys. Where the Panthers are playing with this whole chip on their shoulder, but at the same time, they're getting kind of full of themselves when they get ahead. And I don't think, because the Cardinals are a more, we'll say, seasoned team than the Seahawks, I don't think that they're going to have the mental breakdowns that the Seahawks did, where the Seahawks got punched in the mouth real early in that game, got down 14-0 with that pick six by Luke Kuechly, and then just tried to recover in that first half. And I made a joke on Twitter. I'm like, if you're Pete Carroll, what do you do when you go into halftime? Like, hey, we're only down 31-0. And then they come back and rattle off like 24 points. But, I mean, that kind of thing to where I don't think Bruce Arians will allow that to happen, and that kind of showed in the game that they played. They played against Green Bay. My thing, I would love to see Cam and Brady. I'm right there with Wale. My thing is that right now the Cardinals seem to be that team that happens every year. Not every year. Most years they get hot and breaks happen to go their way. Whether it's the 2 years the Giants went to the Super Bowl, whether it's the the Ravens, the year they went and won and beat San Francisco, that kind of thing. There's always a team every now and then that just has stuff go their way, and that's what's not going to make me count them out. When you have a game that on overtime is decided by a coin toss and the coin doesn't make a full rotation and they got to reflip the coin, that's almost like the football gods have been like, yes. So part of me would like to see Larry Fitzgerald get a Super Bowl ring just because he's been one of my favorite players for ever since that they lost to Pittsburgh. But at the same time, I won't be unhappy if either team wins. Where I think if the one I don't want to see the Broncos win, because I think if the Broncos do win, they're going to get waxed by whatever team shows up in the NFC side, because I think the NFC is like the West in the NBA. They're just going to steamroll. The only team I think in the AFC that's got a chance is the Patriots because of Tom Brady, because of Bill Belichick, and the way that they prepare for games. So that's where I'm at. Anything else, guys, you want to add in?
As a side note, the Super Bowl between the Panthers and the Patriots was in 2004. That's where they played
Woo!
at
Graduation. Damn.
Yeah.
Reliance Stadium. As that game went down to the Patriots 32-29. So hey, look, like I said, I want Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. I need Cam Newton to win, just because it's going to make everybody really upset.
Yeah, that'd be. I'm okay with that. I like Cam a lot. I'll never forget being in North Carolina during that draft and having Panther fans tell me that they would rather draft Patrick Peterson or Blaine Gabbert at 1 over Cam Newton. And they're like, no, we don't. And they booed the pick, just like the stupid Houston fans booing the J.J. Watt pick. They booed. I was in this guy's apartment. This guy had two 70-inch TVs back when TVs were like $7,000-$8,000 for these suckers. And we're there, beer pong table. There's like 20 of us. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, you don't understand. Cam is going to be great. No, man. I don't want Cam Newton. Give me Patrick Peterson. Give me Blaine Gabbert. Cam Newton's ceiling is too low. He's a system guy. I don't want him. And I would totally love Cam. So when I go see them later, I'll be like, screw you guys.
Bruh, could you imagine what if in that draft the Panthers took Blaine Gabbert and Cam Newton fell to like the Jags?
Oh, don't.
How crazy would that be?
To be fair, I don't think that happens. He would have went to the Titans. The Titans took Jake Locker.
We'll be taking him at 7.
You don't know, because here's the thing. Like, if one guy falls, then the pendulum starts to swing, man. If they're like, oh, we took Blaine, they're like, oh man, red flags.
Here's a fair. Do you think Gene Smith drafts Cam Newton?
No.
Probably not.
There you go. That answers your question.
Also,
he would have drafted some Division III defensive lineman or some shit.
Austin Lane.
Yeah.
And I like Austin Lane. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget that, sitting there with those people, and I was excited for that Gabbert pick because I was ready to have somebody, and I didn't know no better at the time.
We all did.
All 3 jerseys, was it?
Yeah, I got 3 jerseys.
You bought 3 Blaine Gabbert?
No. I didn't buy 3. I bought 1. I bought the his rookie year, the Reebok one, and then I had friends get me the Nike versions before they went to the new versions, the ones that they have now. Back when they went to those first Nike edition ones,
right.
They bought them like the year Mike Mularkey, so they're like $5. They found them in a Nike outlet in Tennessee and bought them for me. So
and I am sorry.
And but yeah, that's I was totally on the Blaine train. You know,
we all were.
I didn't buy one.
I'll never forget. I took my whole family to that Kansas City game.
Oh no!
All 11 of us. And we sat in the north end zone.
Oh no!
Yep. Oh, I'll never forget.
The first 2 minutes of that game were great, and then nothing.
I was there till the game was over. Yep. But anyway,
we got to talk like the worst brutal losses we've ever sat through. That'll have to be a show one episode.
Oh right. Man, I got some good ones. I got some good ones for that.
All right, guys. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll wrap this up.
I got nothing.
You know, I like to dig up crazy stats for this stuff. One last thing. We're talking about Carolina slacking up after 31-0. In the last 15 years, any team up 31 points plus at the half is 325-0.
Okay.
Fun stat.
That's a good stat.
That's all I got.
That's a good stat. Fair enough. So you can definitely catch us here. Jack Blitz over here on Twitch. This will be content will be posted to YouTube right afterwards. If you decide you would love to follow the wittiness that is Wale or Dave, you can catch Wale at DMC Wale. He's over at the good old UNF Arena, hashtag swoop life.
Yes, sir.
And you can catch good old Dave down there at Mellow Mushroom. You want to go hit him up?
And the new burrito gallery open up in Brooklyn soon as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Come check us out on the rooftop bar.
There's a rooftop bar?
We're going to have a rooftop bar at Burrito Gallery, 220 Riverside, Unity Plaza.
Bruh, I'll be there.
Sounds good.
I'll be
And
there.
you catch myself at La Boyd, even though I'm not as good a follow, but I'll take you. It's okay. So, thank you for anybody who watched. We will catch you all next week.
Cheers.